What's up, buddy? Not much. How are you? Good. So I'll let you prepare for this question, but I'm seeing a ton of news coming out of baseball. So you can get your thoughts together before the end of this. Ton of news coming out of baseball that next year their CBA is probably expiring, and there's a good chance that some of these teams are looking for salary caps. Right. That's the same exact thing. Yeah, it's the same exact thing for the Pirates. Same exact thing for the Pirates. Yeah. Right. Right. You know. All right. Well, listen. Don't blow your load yet, because we're going to end with that tonight. Because I think it's interesting. Let's kind of play it out when we get to it. What would it look like? What would baseball look like if we had a salary cap? Let's play the what if game. You know what I mean? Well, well, not only that too, but then you would essentially be forcing these lower tier teams owners to start spending money, to start putting more money into their teams. For example, Bob Nutting. Bob Nutting has I mean, he's a billionaire. You know, he's making almost $300 million every season. It seems like, and he can't fill the stadium, and he can't put on a winning baseball field on that team, or any a winning team on that field, and yet he's profiting, like you said with the Marlins. They're profiting every year. How is that? So let's say he has to spend $300 million on his payroll now. What does that look like for the Pirates and the Marlins, especially? What does it look like for the Yankees and the Dodgers, who spend that much on one guy? You know, then you get into an NFL type of thing where, you're going to have to defer payments until later on down the road, or kick up a larger signing bonus to, get this money off the books, things of that nature. Um, and then on top of that, you know, maybe let's put in some type of bylaw here that if you don't produce a winning baseball team in 10 years that you own the team, you're forced to sell them. Well, it would right. It would limit spending for the top tier teams, but it would increase spending for the bottom tier teams. They would have to spend that much. Right, right. Yeah. 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 So we'll get into that. All right, let's start. What's everybody? We are live coming to you tonight, and we got a lot to unpack here on this show. I'm joined here by Mike and Matt. Welcome in, boys. We got a lot to go over. Um, yeah, we see you, Mike. You're an idiot, but anyway, welcome to Sports Dummies, and we're going to talk about sports in the most idiotic and dummyish way that we can. So let's start off. I want to start off with college football. There's some big news coming out of college football that just happened literally like an hour ago. The biggest thing is UCLA just fired their head coach, Deshaun Foster, I think is his name.
Yeah, that was the other day. Yeah, he
Was
got
this
fired on Tuesday.
okay? I don't know why I'm just now seeing it now. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
I think
two
here's
firings in
right. So here's the more interesting part of this firing is that UCLA hasn't played 4 games yet, and Nico Amaliva is has the potential to go back into the transfer portal, because if the rule is um, if a head coach is fired, the entire team has the chance or opportunity to hit the transfer portal within a 30-day window. And considering that UCLA hasn't even played 4 games yet, they're 0-3. Nico would be able to keep his red shirt eligibility. So he would essentially not be penalized for this year whatsoever, even though he's played 3 games. So I think it's very interesting. A guy that ended up leaving so much money on the table in Tennessee leaves to go to UCLA to make less money essentially, and then now it has the opportunity to leave UCLA again. But on the other side of this is who's going to want him? Who's going to go out there and try to buy this kid? You know what I mean?
he's proven he's not worth anything right now. His his worth was at an all time high last year after Tennessee,
Absolutely.
and he got greedy and
Yep.
went to UCLA and transferred, and he is showing his true color. He thought that the grass was greener at UCLA because they gave him more money, and he
Right.
has been very bad. I mean, not even a good quarterback, a very bad quarterback on a very bad football team.
I agree.
And it's funny because they have a lot of talent, just they're not a good football team.
Right.
So, actually, Matt's super dog last week beat them in
Yeah, so
Mexico.
Yeah.
you guys are missing the big picture. He got fired because I picked New Mexico. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty simple.
Well,
Until I
and
give you
not
his
only
next pick.
not only
Oh,
that, but
man.
not only that, but New Mexico handled UCLA
Probably crushed them.
35-10, and and New Mexico was a 25-point dog, or I should say, yeah, they were a 25-point dog. So, I mean, you just no wonder the guy got fired, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? You just can't have a team, especially an LA team. I mean, we're talking about California, an LA team. This that's unacceptable. You know what I mean? That would be like that would be like USC flopping like that.
Right.
I mean, they would riot in the streets down there. You know what I mean? So the next little piece of college news that I wanted to get to before Matt, I need your picks, and then we can go over Super Dogs, and then we can move on. But the next big news is the NCAA is eliminating the spring portal eligibility. So they're going to go down to one transfer portal that's going to be the new proposed portal date, which is going to be January 2nd through the 11th, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest with you. But I do like the fact that they're moving to one transfer portal.
They
There
need
was
to do. They didn't. They need to do it after the bowl games.
I was
and
just
after
about to
national
say, I
championship.
was going to get to that. Yeah. There was, for those that don't know, there was 2 portals, one in the winter, one in the spring, one in December, one in April, mid-April, all of December seemingly for the winter one. But this new proposed one is January 2nd through the 11th. And if anybody knows about the national championship is usually played about the 3rd week of January. So this window, this portal, would essentially open 2 weeks before the national championship game is played. So I agree, Mike. I think that this should happen after the national championship for those guys that maybe get an opportunity. For prime example was Penn State's Bo Perbola, who's now playing for Missouri and playing quite well. I
and
might
killing
add.
it.
Well, playing quite
7
well.
touchdowns and 1
Right,
pick.
right.
That's playing
Playing
great. Yeah.
playing very well, I might add. So he left his team in the middle of the college football playoff, which pissed me off at first. But then once I thought about it, I'm like, I kind of get it. I understand where the kid's coming from. But it almost takes the fun out of some of these kids that they kind of have to decide, do I stick with my friends, my teammate, the team that essentially brought me in, that drafted, I say drafted, but recruited me, or do I leave for greener pastures because I know I'm not going to play here next year, or I'm not going to get an opportunity here next year because the guy that I'm backing up is not going away. He's staying put. So that's why I think that it needs to be postponed or reimagined until after the national championship game. I think Mike, again, we are both on this train.
Yeah.
Matt, I would assume.
Here's the thing. I can't agree with you more. It has to go after the national championship game. And the bottom line is, college athletics has changed the way you and I watched it growing up. With
Right.
NIL and how much money's being thrown around. I mean,
Right.
Texas Tech spent over $200 million in NIL money.
Right.
They bought a whole new roster. Okay.
Well, let's not forget
Miami
too.
Hurricanes spent over $100 million in NIL money. It's insane.
Let's not forget too that these kids that are jumping into the transfer portal and going other places, there's still 2 teams that are going to the national championship, 4 teams, 6 teams, 8 teams that are playing in this time period that are going to have a hard time essentially preparing for their games plus recruiting out of the transfer portal.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. Like it's unfair to those 12 teams that make the playoff just because 8 teams just because they're behind the ball unless they send their coaches out to recruit during the whole playoff. So
yeah,
I just don't like it.
This would be the equivalent if the NFL started their free agency after week 17 rather than after the Super Bowl in March or April. You know what I mean?
Yep. If your team was eliminated, yeah.
Right.
Here's just one simple question. You guys follow it a little more closely than I do. Who's calling the shots for the NCAA? What governing body now is making these decisions?
The NCAA. The NCAA.
Is it 3 guys in a room? Is it 10 university presidents?
It's 8 guys. It's bad.
Right. Yeah.
So there's not that's the problem. It's changed so much over the past 6 months, let alone the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. That before it was the Power 5 conference presidents plus the NCAA commissioner and the vice president. Now it's 8 commissioners plus there's like 10 people in the room. Right. But it's like you need a governing body that represents. There's 136 teams that play Division I-A football.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you need a representative, not just from the Power 4 conferences now they're calling them, from everybody to make it fair, honestly. So until they all get on the same page, I like the fact they want to do one portal because it's nonsense right now. It's craziness that's going on. Kids can transfer where they want. And listen, I get it. Coaches get fired, and the kids are left like, wow, I wanted to play for him, but he's gone now. But in the same sense, there's guys on their 7th year of eligibility right now because of this portal. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's totally insane. So
yeah, those were the big news, the big topics that I had to cover for college football. Matt, we've already picked. I'm just going to run down the list, and then we can all do our super dogs after Matt gives us all of his picks. So, Matt, we have the first game on the docket here. Noon o'clock kickoff. 17 Texas Tech going into 16 Utah. Utah is given 3.5, and the over/under is 58.5. Mike took Texas Tech. I took Utah. We both are on the under.
Okay, I have Utah in the under. I'm taking home. That's a tough place to play. So give me Utah in the under.
Okay, we're all on the under. All right. Next one, 3:30 game. 22 Auburn goes to 11 Oklahoma. Oklahoma has made the list twice now. Oklahoma is given 6.5, and the over/under is 49.5. Mike and I are both on Oklahoma. I am on the over. He is on the under.
I'll take the home team in the over.
Okay. Another one that we're all riding on. Okay. Okay. 7:30 game. One of two that we have here. Number 9, Illinois. Number 19, Indiana. Indiana is giving 3.5. The over/under is 52.5. Mike and I are both on Indiana. Mike and I are both on the over.
You know how I feel about getting the extra S. So I'm taking the road team here. Illinois and the under, please.
Oh, so you completely faded us on this game.
Hell yeah. Wait till I give you my reasoning for my super dog.
All right. Well, I don't blame you for dogging us. The second 7:30 game that we decided on is a big game. Florida unranked goes into number 4 Miami, and Miami is given 7.5. The over/under is 51.5. Mike and I see it different. He's going Florida. I'm going Miami. Over/under. We see it different. I'm on the over. He's on the under.
Miami over. The quarterback's really good. Watched him last week. He's been in college for 12 years. I get it, but still, he's really super good. So.
All right. And with that said, we are into our super dog. It doesn't matter who wants to go first, but I will start it off. And I'm going to go with Tulane going into Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is giving them 11.5. Both teams, Ole Miss is ranked. Let me get their rank up right now. Ole Miss is 13. Both 3-0 teams. And this sounds like it's going to be a high-scoring game. They're giving this one an over/under of 61.5. So I'm going with Ole Miss, or I'm going with Tulane.
All right. Writing that down, by the way, because I got the Hard Rock going. I'm ready to go. All right, Mike, I'm going to go. I took this team based upon experience of all the years of being Mike's Pittsburgh college Flash, whatever team that were playing that week pool, and learning about all these different schools. So my pick this week, again, go with me because I crushed last week. I'm going with Wagner against Central Michigan. Think about this. Richard Wagner, Billy Wagner, Jack Wagner. And so, come on. Give me Wagner going into Central Michigan, getting 28.5 points on the road, easily get inside the number.
Wow. I don't even think I've known. I don't even think I knew that Wagner was a university.
Wagner.
I don't even know.
Go rewatch that video with Jack Wagner singing that on I think it was General Hospital. I think, as a matter of fact, but yeah. So come on, Wagner.
All right, my super dog this week is the Idaho Vandals plus 14.5.
Idaho.
Who they're playing, I have no idea. They're getting 14.5. I didn't break down who they're playing.
14.5.
But that's
all right,
what I'm taking.
Let's go find out who Idaho is playing.
They are playing.
Are they in the Mountain West? Yep. They're playing.
Good question.
Yeah, they're playing San Jose State.
There you go.
And they're
San Jose State.
Okay, and they're
Idaho is going to beat them.
I see it. I see that they're getting 14. So you want the hook? I'll give 14? You the hook. Well, if you want the hook, I'll give you the hook. Don't matter to me.
Whatever you guys want to give me, I don't care.
All right, we'll give you the hook. We'll give you the hook.
All right, 14.
I just did the 3-team money line calculation, and taking these three teams money line, $50, we get back $2.6 million. So if all these three teams hit money line, so
Listen,
let's go.
I'm in.
Well,
I'm
I would.
in.
Let me
Yeah.
take for the
Now,
record
hold
that
on.
I would not take
Money
these.
line?
Yeah, I wouldn't take
No,
these money lines.
you're giving away money.
Not a way. Not a chance in hell am I
No.
taking these money lines.
No.
That's hence the $2.8
What
million.
what would
Yeah.
it be with the spread?
Yeah.
I'd like
What
to
is
see
it?
what-
I have no idea. I would just be.
I'm gonna check right now. That's funny.
Okay.
Let's check.
Anyway, all right, cool.
All right.
We're
So
in.
that is what we have this week for college. So we could move out of college and we could run right into the NFL. So let's just recap real quick what we saw on Thursday night. So we had the Miami Dolphins going into Buffalo and facing the Bills, and that final ended up being 31-21. And Mike, you ended up going with Miami on this one because that was a very large spread of 12.5. It almost didn't pan out, but I got to be honest. I thought Miami was going to quit on their head coach. It doesn't look like it after last night. Either that or the Buffalo Bills have a very porous defense.
They do. That was my take heading in this game. And Buffalo's defense can be had. I'm not shocked. I thought Miami was on the verge of giving up. Yeah, I think they're a bad football team, but I think they had something to play for and pride. And their offense put up a fight. That Miami defense though is atrocious. They're really bad. They're really bad. And Buffalo's isn't much better for being a contender.
No.
So,
I'm going to give you a different spin on Buffalo in terms of the defense. They could be, if we were to able to look at it in a vacuum, as a bend don't break sort of defense, because that team hasn't been out turnover in 25 games. So in 25 games, they've won the turnover. So I mean, granted, the Bills aren't turning it over because in his last 12 games, it's 30 touchdowns to 1 interception. So granted, the Bills don't make mistakes, but the Bills defense, granted, compare them against the offense. The strength is the offense and Josh Allen. They're not terrible. They're enough. They could be enough. They got to close against Baltimore and against the Dolphins kind of in spots too. But man, Josh Allen, really? I mean, that's crazy. And they're the only team this year 30 points all 3 games.
Right.
So it seems like he's getting better, which is scary because he used to be able to say that, he's not accurate or he's reckless or he's whatever. But how are you reckless if you have 1 turnover in 12 games against 40 touchdowns? That doesn't make sense to him. So it's getting better. It's kind of scary. So if you're not a Bills fan, I don't really love the Bills, but man, that team is scary good.
They are.
They are
Dolphins, like this. Can't put.
So real quick, if you were to take those 3 teams in a $10 parlay, you win $70 with the points. So just a little heads up.
Yeah, there's a regular almost 5-1, 6-1.
Yeah.
Also, interesting thing. Do you know that Tua's cap number over the next 4 years is higher than Josh Allen?
Ouch.
Yeah. That's really, really good, huh? So
yeah.
It's going to be
one other thing. I don't want to talk a lot about this game. We watched it. We saw what happened. We're not shocked. I got lucky on the cover. But did you guys see the ending with the kneel play? That ball was live. It should have been. Josh Allen did not kneel the ball. Did not have his knee on the ground with the football in his hands. It should have been a live football. Not that it would have mattered, like an over-unders. It wouldn't matter against the spread, I guess. You know what I mean? But for bettors, it could have mattered. But pretty interesting.
Well,
bad call there.
I think
everybody just got lazy.
I think a lot of times too, though, given the duality of the game and where they were in the game, taking a knee and stuff like that, that's basically a give up, right? So, I mean, if you're splitting hairs, sure, I guess you could say, that ball's live. He never nailed it or anything like that. But if he's like forcibly, or not forcibly, but if he's just
gave himself up,
giving himself up, they're going to blow the whistle on that every time.
Right.
That goes for player safety too.
If you're driving if you're driving and you're doing 120 miles an hour and you get pulled over, you're not going to get a not wearing a seatbelt ticket also. You know, I mean, you're getting
Oh, you will.
for going 120.
No,
But it's like,
you'll get a seatbelt ticket too. I promise you.
depends on where you are. In Pennsylvania, maybe, but
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So I think like Mike said, I think we're beating a dead horse on this game. It is what it is. You know, the Buffalo Bills are a better team than the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins hung in there. So I think we could just get into some of these games, and then we could talk about the quarterback situations, the injuries, the releases, all kind of stuff, and then we can start. Actually, let's start with our top five then. Before we jump into that, let's start with our top five. So our top five this weekend, what we chose to do is we chose to take, well, at least I chose to do this. I don't know about the rest of you fools. I chose to take three of the 9 0-2 teams and make a case for them to potentially make the playoffs. To round out my top 10, I took 2 random 2-0 teams and made cases for them to miss the playoffs. So I'm going to start at my number 5 and the Los Angeles Chargers missing the playoffs since they are a 2-0 team. So Kansas City, this is still their division until somebody pushes them out. Even though they're 0-2 right now to start, we know that Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes is going to get this train rolling at some point in time. So in that case, this is still their division until somebody comes in and takes it from them. And then on the flip side, this division has gotten harder because you got the addition of Pete Carroll over in Oakland, and you got Harbaugh, who's bringing in his second year with the Chargers, or with Vegas. You got Pete Carroll in Vegas, but you got Sean Payton over in Denver, is what I meant to say, not Harbaugh. But you got Sean Payton over in Denver in his second year over there with Bo Nix, and those two in their first year lit it up. And there's no reason to think that in their second year that they're not going to get better. They're still trying to figure everything out. I think they're also 2-0 or 1-2 or either whatever the case is. But the Chargers took a huge hit last week with Khalil Mack coming out of the game with a dislocated elbow. So there's a big, huge hit to their defense already. On top of the fact that they've already lost Asante Samuel Jr. In the offseason. And on top of that, they have a huge amount of depth concerns when it comes to their offensive line and their secondary already. And when they get into the middle of their schedule here, they're looking at a couple top tier teams that they're going to have to go against. And this is hoping that they can get all of their players to just that mid-season in order to grind out a couple wins here and there in order to make a case for himself at the end of the year. But the way that it's looking is that there's still questions at the left side of the line and the center positions. They signed Becton on the right side, but still you have those questions on the other side of the ball or on the other side of the line. So if this team's not careful, they can lose a couple games here and a string of games here and really turn themselves into going from a 2-0 team to maybe a 6-3 team very fast, especially considering the fact that their division is probably going up to be one of the hardest divisions to play in at this point.
Interesting. I could definitely see some angles in there where, there's some paths for that to happen. Like for me, I spread it. I got 2 teams 0-2 that are going to ascend. I got one team 1-1 that I'm a little nervous about, and I got a couple of teams that are 2-0 that better be careful. So my number 5 was the Texans. Texans are 0-2. The Colts are 2-0 in that division right now, in a historically weak division. And, Daniel Jones 2-0. I mean, nobody really saw that coming. I feel like the teams are going to struggle, with Cam Ward. I feel like we don't know who the Jaguars are. I think that the Texans probably have the best quarterback in the division, which I think is an advantage. And the fact that Houston at least is trying to upgrade the offensive line. Remember, they traded Tunsil. They traded that first rounder, Kenyon Green. I think they drafted 2 or 3 linemen. Their offensive line's very young. So after the first 2 weeks, they're not playing well, but, maybe there's some growth and maybe they get better there. So, again, historically weak division, you know, a lot of question marks across the landscape. I think the Texans being 0-2 got a shot to still make the playoffs. Now, statistically speaking, the task at hand is 10% of the teams that start 0-2 since 1970 make the playoffs in the NFL. So it's not advantageous to start off 0-2.
That was going to be a team I talked about because honestly, fellas, out of the teams that are 0-2, I think they're the only team that have a shot of making a turnaround. Honestly, I don't like the other teams when I went and looked at them and broke it down. And I mean, some teams have talent. Like the one team that everyone was harping about. I mean, a lot of the experts are talking about the Chicago Bears. Okay, I'm going to talk about them a little bit. People were on them from the get-go. It's going to be a different year. Williams is going to turn it around. So let's talk about the defense, not about the offense. We know the offense has impressed, but in crunch time, Williams looks like a bad quarterback. He looks like an average quarterback. In the third and fourth quarter, he's really bad. In his last two games, 35% completion percentage in the fourth quarter, very bad. But the defense, let me talk about the Bears defense. They're allowing 75% completion percentage. They're allowing 382.5 yards per game. They've given up 7 touchdowns to 1 interception. 136.9 QB rating, almost perfect against them. I mean, it's awful. They've given up 10 touchdowns total. They're giving up 5.3 yards per game, yards per carry. I mean, they only have 1 interception. That's the only takeaway they've had. So, and they're giving up 39.5 points per game. Now, granted, it's 2 games. It's a small sample size, but I'm more worried about their defense, and they lost their best defensive player in Jawan Johnson. He might be out, at least out 4 weeks, maybe longer. I like what Rome Odunze brings to them offensively. He's near their new bell cow on offense, but Swift has shown nothing this year. Caleb Williams, like I said, guys, he looks great in the first half of the game, but the second half, boy, he's taking a step backwards. And they're arguably the best division of football again. So I don't expect the Bears to even sniff. I don't think they're going to sniff 500 this year. I think they're going to be a top 10 pick again, and they got a lot of work to do on that team. They did it on offensive line, but they need to think defense coming up. So, that was my number 5.
All right. So, I think as we do this, we jump into the games. We talk about these games because there's a lot to cover with all this stuff. And instead of bouncing all over the place and then coming back to these games and talking about them later to make a pick, we'll just do it all together. So let's go into Cleveland and let's talk about the Green Bay Packers taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are going to get 7.5 at home, and the over/under is 41.5.
Do you just want to go in order? Go first each time?
What's that?
I'm just saying, just to go in order, if you just want to have Mike go first each time, or
no,
rotate.
We'll just switch it. Yeah, we'll just switch it up.
All right.
So
I'll go first this time.
Okay. All right.
I tell you what, Cleveland. That's a team I looked at a lot this afternoon.
They made my list. They made my list, so we'll discuss that when they get there. But yeah, they made my list.
Yeah. Interesting take on Cleveland. They're 0-2. They're a bad football team, but they're number 1 defense in the NFL right now. They're giving up 45.5 yards on rushing a game, only 192 on 146 passing. But their offense is atrocious. So that being said, I think you have 2 really good defensive teams here. One team can score, the other team can't. One team turns the ball over, the other team doesn't. So that being said, I am taking my time because I'm lost right now. No, I am taking
the
Green Bay
house.
Packers in the under. Is it 7.5? Is that the spread?
Yeah, 7.5, 41.5.
Okay, I am taking Green Bay and the under in this one.
How are the Cleveland Browns number 1 in yardage allowed on defense and giving up 30 points a freaking game? What the hell's happening?
Defense, offense is so bad. I mean,
it's such an anomaly. They're 30 yards ahead of the Falcons at number 2, and
right.
The Falcons are giving up half the points they are per game. That's insane. Literally, the top 12 teams are not even close to 20 points, 15, 14, and here the Browns are at 29 points a game. Wow. Packers defense is legit. I talked about them last week. To me, I don't think there's a true home field advantage for a really bad football team. So I don't think Cleveland Browns get a benefit here by being at home. I don't know what that is. So I'm taking the Green Bay Packers and the under in this game.
All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think the better team is going to win, and that better team is going to be Green Bay, and they're going to cover that, and they're also going to hit the over on that. So that's the end of that. Moving on.
What
Again,
did you take, Chaz?
I took the Packers. We all took the Packers, given 7.5, but I took the over on this game.
Okay.
So the next game that we got coming up, I'm just making sure I don't have anything to talk about for this game. It's injury wise or anything like that, but I don't. The next game is Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans. The Colts are the favorites in this game, and no surprise there. They're going to give 4.5, and the over under is 43.5.
I'll take Titans. Titans at home. Maybe outright, actually. I think there's growth there. Mike, I know you're not a Cam Ward fan, but man, he made a throw last week for that touchdown pass that was absolutely tremendous. The kid's got skill. Now, again, the defense is whatever, hopefully getting a little better. I think Tennessee's got a decent defense, but I'm going Tennessee in this game. Home, tough spot. Daniel Jones, I think that can cause confusion for him a little bit. So Tennessee in the under in this game for me.
I'll go next. I'm taking the Colts, and I'm going to take the over again in this game. Danny Dimes is slinging it all over the yard over there. I mean, he's looking like a resurgence of what he could have been for Dabo, but maybe he just, or not Dabo, but Dable, or put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. But Danny Dimes is coming out to be, is he the second coming? Who knows? But he's definitely proven that he is a much better quarterback than what the Giants had. Maybe it's the way that, the plays are designed for him and the reads and everything like that he's able to make at Indy that he wasn't able to do in the big market and at the Giants. But I got a lot more faith in the Colts this year than I probably thought I was going to have with Danny Dimes under center. So I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to take the Colts on this cover.
All right. Matt, I'm not down on Cam Ward. I'm down on him eating the ball too much. That's my thing with him. What he's done the first two games. Especially when you're in field goal range and you just need points to keep close to the game, taking 6 sacks. 3 were inside the 30 that took him out of field goal range. I mean, not a good look. Anyway, I think these teams are going to play typical AFC South football, which is very sloppy. I like Tennessee at home, and I like their defense. So I'm taking Tennessee in the under in this one. I don't know if they'll win this game, but I think it's going to be a tight game, sloppy game. I think the hope maybe saves us if you're taking the under. I think I see it's 2017, 23-20 type game in this one. So I'll give me Tennessee in the under.
Okay.
All right, favorites to this point, first 2 weeks are 22-10 ATS. So favorites 22-10 so far first 2 weeks. Could be some regression this week with some of the dogs, but we'll see if that trend continues towards the favorites.
All right, so let's get to this game where it is going to be probably the one instance where I would lobby for a flex in week 3 to be like Wednesday at 4 a.m. because this game is going to probably blow more than anybody wants to watch. And the 1 o'clock time slot on CBS, the Cincinnati Bengals and their backup Jake Browning is going to go to Minnesota and take on Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings are going to give 2.5 to Cincy. The over-under is 41.5.
take it away. You're up.
Okay, so I think we've seen enough of the Carson Wentz experience to know what kind of a quarterback Carson Wentz is. Now I know KOC is supposed to be this kind of quarterback whisperer. I mean, look what he did with Sam Darnold. But I just don't think in the time frame that he has with Carson Wentz and the fact that Carson Wentz just may have been a flash in the pan, a lightning in a bottle type of quarterback when he played way back when for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he didn't even take him to the promised land. Nick Folk did. So big Nick Rick over there was able to go and take them to win a Super Bowl. But I mean, let's not forget Carson Wentz brought him there. But after last week and Jake Browning being able to sling the ball around a little bit, I'm more confident with Jake Browning. Plus, they're going to get 2.5 on the road. This game, Mike, you saw the last game as a 20 to 17 or a 20 to 3 type of game. I see that being this game. Your stars aren't going to be stars in this game. It's typically what happens with backup quarterbacks. They have rapport with their third string or fourth string wide receivers, and they end up lighting it up. So, I would see Jamar Chase maybe not being able to do so well today. I would, or not on Sunday. I'd be able to see Jefferson not being able to do well. I bet you Thielen has a good game, just because again, he's probably has a different rapport with Wentz practicing all week than he would with Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to take Cincy, and I'm going to take the under on this game.
This is my favorite game of the week. I love Minnesota. I think that they beat them. Brownie came in last week. I mean, they won the game. They should have won the game. They were the better team. They did have, 3 picks? And however short time he was playing. Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, is salivating for this week. I don't think it's going to go well for Cincinnati's offense. And putting them behind, and if that happens, it's going to make them even more so one-dimensional, which could be really ugly for Cincinnati. And I just think talent-wise overall on both sides, especially defense, Minnesota's better. So I'm going to take Minnesota, laying the 2.5. I don't think that really matters. I just don't know how many points Minnesota is going to score. I don't think the Bengals are going to score a lot, but I think Minnesota get close to that. So I'm going to say Minnesota and the over in this game.
I'm on the Vikings with you, Matt, on this one. I look at both teams. I think Carson Wentz has a better defense behind him. He has Jordan Mason there. I think it's going to be a running game between both teams. Chase Brown against Jordan Mason, which is interesting. I'm with you, Chaz, on Carson Wentz. I'm not sure about him. Jake Browning, we see what he is. He's a decent backup, but I just like Flores against the Bengals. Give me the Vikings in the under in a very sloppy game. Again, I could see this one being the same type of way, like 20 to 17, 20 to 16. So I'll take the Vikings in the under.
Fantasy nugget here, boys. Carson Wentz has the highest percentage of any active quarterback to throw to the tight end. 23% of his targets go to the tight end. Play T.J. Hawkinson this week. Huge much start. In DFS and whatever you're doing, gambling, anything, I don't care. T.J. Hawkinson this week gets fed. So that's something to look at.
T.J. Hawkinson stinks. Next game.
Care. Volume, baby.
Next game.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think this is a good time that we talk about, Mike, what you were talking about, because Joe Burrow is going to be out for 3 months minimum. Who knows? If rehab doesn't go well, he might not make it back this year. And this brings into the fact that, Mike, you're talking about, Burrow's just not a guy that can stay healthy, it seems like. And that's very worrisome, considering the fact that you just broke this guy off and backed the Brinks truck up to his.
You're breaking up a lot, bro.
So are you. So are you too.
Okay.
But this seems to be. This is a big concern coming out of Cincy, with a guy that can't stay healthy. That you just backed the Brinks truck up to his house and dropped off a boatload of money, and now here we are. He's going to miss more than half the season.
Yeah, I agree totally. The comment you posted was they paid the offensive line $10.
$10 an hour.
Generous with that. They might have given each a dozen eggs.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
remember it was $10 an hour, and the games are only 3.5
Yeah.
hours long. So
Yeah.
Plus travel and per diem. So yeah, they got $10. Yeah.
You both made good points about not only they not play their offensive line, but Burrow has to be smarter when he's behind there. Throw the ball away. Don't take bad hits. It's the second time in 3 years he's had a major injury.
Mhm.
So you know, is he Joey Glass? Is that what he is? You know, I'm not blaming him a lot, but some of the blame is definitely on him. And
Gotta take time. Yeah, it's gotta take
yeah,
Right.
if you're a Bengals fan, man, this is the worst thing that could happen to you because your
Absolutely.
team banked on that offense to get anywhere this year. So
I mean, let's not forget your team in the offseason spent the most money on offense, like $300 million just on offense.
Yeah. Chad, if you don't mind segueing back to the list again, it's going to really work out because I can give you one of my teams I don't like. This is going to be 2-0 and not making the playoffs.
Okay, let's run with number 4 on the top 5.
I'm going. We're talking about them. It's the Bengals. They're 2-0 right now, but no Burrow. Quality backup. I mean, we get it, but I talked about the Vikings this week. Next 2 weeks, Lions and Packers. Okay, the Bengals should be looking up a huge mountain at that point. And here's the thing about the Bengals. What kind of help are they going to give him at the quarterback position when they're rushing 46 yards a game? They're maybe less than run. So if they can't rush the football, I mean, I think they're just a dead fish in the water. So for me, the Bengals are in trouble. I think for me, they're one of the main 2-0 teams again this year that's going to find it really tough without Burrow to get in there.
All right.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we're all in that same boat with Cincinnati.
Yeah, clearly.
The bad part is that people in Cincinnati have to be so pissed off because there's so much potential with this team, and
Absolutely.
it just
So
seems
much
like
talent on the
every year it's getting pissed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go with my number 4, Mike, and then you can finish this off. So
Okay.
my number 4, who is I'm going to go with my last 2-0 team that could possibly miss the playoffs and collapse, is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're one big lineman that just actually got an injury, tore his pec. He's out for the year. What is it, Cansey?
Colossian Cansey from Pitt, defensive lineman. Yeah. Yeah.
He was poised for a big year this year, and he's already, and he's one of many injuries that is plaguing this team defensively and offensively. With his big injury coming out, and you got all the injuries on the offense, and you might be behind the 8 ball too much at this point. Even though they've started 2-0, you're going to get to the meat of your schedule here, and that meat of your schedule, if I looked it up correctly, they were around the middle of the pack here, so a moderate schedule as far as difficulty. But still, you got a few teams just in your division that are going to start trending upwards, and that's you're still going against Matt Stafford up north. And you got Kyler Murray and Arizona, which can still steal a game or two away from you. So, or not Kyler Murray. I'm thinking of wrong division. But at any rate, you still got to win these games, and you're winning. Your wins have come against some shoddy quarterback play as well. They escape the last game with a 20-19 victory that they almost lost. So those close games, not every one of those close games are going to go in your favor. And that small little losing streak can really derail you for the rest of the year and being able to take you out of that playoff contention whatsoever. And again, we've already talked about the injuries, and that they may be without Mbuka this Sunday as well. So,
that's a big injury if that happens.
Right. And talking about throwing gas on a fire here. Already coming in with a very thin wide receiver room. So Tampa Bay would be my last of my 2-0 teams that you could see a major collapse in.
So I'm going to finish for you guys. Jump on the 2-0 teams that I don't see making the playoffs. The Arizona Cardinals. They're 2-0. They haven't been impressive one bit at all. They beat the Saints, who are this two teams that are going to vie for the number 1 spot. Add Miami in there, maybe another team, but he beat the Saints 20-13 and the Panthers 27-22. So both teams were within a score at the end of the game. This is a big week for them. They're playing a Niners team that's banged up, but I think the Niners are still a better football team. Kyler Murray still doesn't get it done for me. They don't use Marvin Harrison Jr., which is crazy. They're not feeding James Conner the ball like they used to. You and I talked about this last year, Chaz. When Conner eats, the Cardinals eat. They're giving more carries to Benson, which we knew was going to happen. McBride's still their focal point of their offense, but other than that, man, they're. If I'm a Cardinals fan, their defense is not very good, and their schedule is pretty daunting coming up. I mean, they don't play. They play in the same division as the Niners and Rams, so that's a tough division. And then you have, they play at the Colts, they play against the Packers, they play at Dallas, who I don't think they can keep up with them scoring. They play the Seahawks, they play Tampa Bay, the Texans, the Falcons, the Bengals, the Rams. I mean, I just think that they're a middle of the road team. NFC's pretty deep. I can see 3 teams coming out of the North. I just don't like the Falcons' makeup. I mean, the Cardinals' makeup myself. So, and if they have one big injury, if Corner goes down or Murray goes down, they're screwed. I mean, most teams are screwed if big players go down, but there's no depth on that team, and their defense is not built to win games for them. So, the only guts they have is that they're playing in a division that could be headed because it's not so good. Even the Niners, they're playing, but the Rams, to me, if Stafford's healthy, they're a class of that division. So that's my call on that.
My turn, I'm going to piggyback a lot of the things you said about Arizona. Just you mentioned about how good that division is defensively, statistically, and I'll talk about that when it's my turn. I'll save it because we got lots of games to go over.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. So the next game that we can probably spend a little bit of time on is our very own Pittsburgh Steelers going up to New England, and they're going to give the home team 2.5, and the over-under is 44.5. So the outsider looking in, Matt, why don't you go ahead and start us off with this game?
Yeah, for me, it's the Patriots, and I'm going to go with the over in this game. I just don't know what to say about our defense. I mean, I just really don't understand how bad we've been stopping the run and making mistakes, assignments being blown. It just blows my mind. And again, I don't have any faith in the offense either. Aaron got exposed a little bit last week. The real impressive thing for me has been Jaylen Warren. His usage has been incredible, especially red zone. So, but it's just not enough. Again, for me, it's an ascending team and a team that's hanging on for dear life. Give me the ascending team, especially at home. So Patriots and under. Patriots and over in this game.
Mike, I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish this one. I'll go with this one. So,
okay.
I'm not convinced. I would probably bet that any team at this point, after watching Julian Edelman's podcast, has called the New England Patriots and found out what they know about the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Because according to Julian Edelman, the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't stopped doing the same defense that they did back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, when New England used to just murder them every year in the playoffs. I don't think that the Steelers have changed much in their defensive schemes. We could clearly see that this year, as you would think that they would have the best defense in the league, and they just simply don't. They've turned into Swiss cheese almost, averaging about 33.5 points a game on defense, when last year they were only averaging 20 points a game on defense last year. So a huge uptick in points allowed for them already just in the 2 games that they've played so far. And as far as their offense has the power. But again, we talk about it all the time. That offensive line is Swiss cheese. They just letting everybody come through and having a party in the backfield. And there's no way that you're going to give Rodgers enough time to dissect the defense or anything like that to get to get a guy open and sling it down the field if he's going to be on the run or on his back the entire time. So with that being said, I think it's pretty clear on where I'm going. Matt, I'm going to follow you to the end of the world on this one. I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I'm going to go with the over on this as well because, again, the Steelers are a sieve, and they just let up points.
I'm going to Patriots in this one. I can't believe they're having the Steelers as a road favorite. I don't understand it. The Steelers are going into New England limping. Deshaun Elliott, Highsmith, JPJ, Patrick Queen is hurt. He's going to play. Thornhill's in there. I mean, the defense right now, walking wounded, and they're not good anyway.
Patrick Queen's been playing, and he hasn't even. Does he have a tackle this year? I'm not even sure if he has a tackle yet. Patrick Queen, he's been terrible.
Listen, the problem is with him, it's not his play, in my opinion. It's the I think the play calling. They have so many missed calls. They're out of position constantly. You're talking, Matt. You talked about the run defense. The pass defense was just as bad last week. Seattle ate them up on third down. The team to me hasn't come prepared to play. They're lucky they got out of New York with a win week 1. But that defense right now, the sieve of themselves. The offense, I think they're better than what they played last week. But again, with that offensive line, I don't care who you have as a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, you're not going to score a lot of points because you're getting beat up too much. I mean, thank God Rodgers still has some wheels because he would have got crushed. He's gotten hit in 2 games, I think 14 times. He's not going to make it through the season. I don't understand the rotation at running back. Jalen Warren should be getting the bulk of the carries, which he has, but he should be the third down back. They need it. Johnson's in the doghouse because of the play on special teams. Bring in Trey Sermon. Bring in Trey Sermon to be the bigger back and let him run the ball because Gainwell, he's the same back as size-wise as Warren. So I'd bring him a big thumper like Sermon, who's 210 pounds. Let him carry the rock, see what he can do. Because right now, we're going against a team, if I'm not mistaken, New England's 3rd in the league in sacks. And they're going to put their ears back and come right at us. So, and the guys who were paying, DK Metcalf is dropping balls. Just the play calling, we're off balance. We're not in the sync at all whatsoever. We need a running game. We don't have that. I just don't like us going in New England and winning. So I'm going to take the Patriots and the under in this one. I think the defense will actually shore up a little bit, but I just don't. I just don't like us. I just don't like us this week. And guess what? If they lose this game, it could get ugly, guys. I hate to say it.
Very ugly. Just to throw a little gas on the fire here, JPJ is out again with a knee injury. So that's 2 weeks in a row now. And good news is that our defensive end Harmon is questionable. So he's trending.
Practice twice.
Yeah, he's trending upwards. So he could be coming back this week. We're not 100% sure, but he is questionable. So I think we can move on this one. I've closed the door on it. The LA Rams are traveling to Philly to take on the Eagles. And the Eagles are going to spot the away team 3.5. The over-under is set at 44.5 again. So 2 games in a row here that we're having 44.5 as our over.
I'll go. I like the Rams. I mean, I know the Eagles haven't lost in however many games. What are they at? 15 in a row now, 16 in a row. But that hook is a big thing. That extra half a point, I'll take it. Both defenses are good. Rams are getting pressure. I think what was interesting, what I saw, and we'll talk about a little bit of this later after we do some of the game breakdown, is I was getting into what the story is what these offenses are, what these players are doing, what we think we expect them to do, and why they're either doing it or not doing it. So what was interesting about the Eagles offense, and we sort of kind of know who they are offensively, but they're the only team in the league right now where their wide receivers do not have a red zone target. Okay, so through the first 2 games, obviously through Barkley, through Jalen Hurts, and other means, their offense is not prolific. and has never been prolific. They just don't make mistakes. They keep the games close. They run the ball. They stay on script. They're never behind. The Rams are good enough to fight with the Eagles. And remember last year, weren't they just a turnover away, that deep pass away from beating them in the NFC Championship game? So I don't know. The Rams are thinking about that, I think, a little bit. Ram may not win, may not break the streak, but it's going to be the best game of the weekend, I think. So I'll take the Rams, keep it close, Rams and under with two defensive teams.
I'll go next, Chaz.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, Saquon had a 200-yard game against the Rams last year. They played 2 games, and Saquon tore them up both. I don't see any reason why Philly would go away from that recipe. The Rams are a good defensive team. Their offense is nice, but Philly, man, Philly's playing strong. I like the way they're. Listen, you're right, Matt. They're not an overpowering offensive team. You know what they are? They're very efficient. They get the job done when needed. They have a defense that causes turnovers. Kyron Williams this year hasn't shown much. Maybe it's because of the teams they've played against, but I tell you who has shown up, the 2 wide receivers, though, for the Rams and Stafford. They are playing well, for sure. But that being said, I like the Eagles at home, and I'm taking the under. I think it's a defensive battle.
Kyron Williams, statistically through the metrics, is not a good running back. He is a volume running back, and he is an accumulation guy through the statistics. So his numbers, he has to get 20 touches in order to be effective. He has to be, getting those sorts of numbers because metrically, like stuff like yards after contact, vision, all these different things they measure the actual skill set by, he's sort of kind of towards the bottom in most of those.
Well, Blake Corum's taking away carries from him this year. So
that's going to happen. These teams know this. They don't know who they have in the building. So obviously McVay is loyal and he's been effective. Williams, he's been that goal line guy. But I think there's better talent on the horizon. Maybe it's Blake Corum, maybe it's not. But sorry to jump in there, metrics. Any chance I get, I'm going to throw some of that metrics and that fantasy stuff out there. So
I wouldn't expect anything less. Wouldn't expect anything less from you, Matt. Yeah, I just, I say this typically with the better teams of the league. The Ravens, the Bills, the Lions, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that I shouldn't be picking you every single week. And the Eagles haven't shown me in a long time that I should not be picking them every single week. They've been, with the exception of last week, but it was again, 2 top tier teams going at it, and it ended with a 20-17 victory for the Eagles, which that came down to 3.5. But I don't think that the Rams are up to the caliber of the Chiefs. So I think this is going to be an easier win for the Eagles. I'm not saying that the Rams don't put up a fight. I just don't think that 3.5 is enough for the Eagles, for the Rams, I think, to cover. So I think this is going to be more or less a 7 or 10 point game. So I'm going to take the Eagles, and I'm also going to take the under in this because I do think this is going to be a little bit more of a defensive struggle than it would be an offense.
You're taking the under?
Yes, I'm riding with everybody.
Okay.
So the next game on the docket, and then we can jump back into our top 5, is the New York Jets getting 6.5 in Tampa Bay when they take on the Buccaneers, and the over/under is 43.5. I'll start with this one.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's my turn. I'll start with this one. When I look at these two teams, first of all, right off the bat, we should talk about the fact that Justin Fields is out of this game. Tyrod Taylor is going to be starting at quarterback this weekend for the Jets because Fields is still in concussion protocol. So with that being said, I'm not saying that Tyrod Taylor is not good, but there's a reason why he's been on so many different teams in so many different years. Kind of like Carson Wentz. He's been all over the league, and going back to Carson Wentz, here's a fun stat for you. He's going to play for his 6th team in the past 60 years. So that should go ahead and tell you something about that. But at any rate, back to this game, Tampa Bay, the only real worry I have at this point is, Baker is coming down to the nitty gritty on who he can throw the ball to. If Mbuka can't go in this game, it's going to be tough for Tampa Bay to be moving the ball around. They're going to have to rely heavily on their backs coming out of the backfield to catch balls and running the ball on top of that, because they have a depleted wide receiver room as it is. But I still like Tampa Bay in this scenario, even though they're giving 6.5, which is a lot in this game. So that goes to show you that somebody in Vegas doesn't really like the Jets that much, even with Taylor behind center. But I feel the same way that Vegas does at this point. I just don't think the Jets are going to have any type of firepower whatsoever. And if that's the case, they're going to focus more on the run game, stopping the run game with Breece Hall, and less on Tyrod throwing that ball around. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Bucs, and I'm going to do the under on this as well.
Mike, you go, because then I'll go, and then we can do a segue if you'd like, because I've got one.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just on the opposite spectrum for you, Chaz. The Bucs are playing a short week. They have some injuries on both offensive and defensive lines. The Mbuka injury just snuck up on us this week. If that happens, that's a big dent in that offense.
I agree.
And I like Tyrod Taylor. Whenever he plays, the guy's not flashy, but he gets the job done. He's a solid backup, man. Give me the New York Jets and the over in this one. I like the Jets. I'm not saying the Jets win, but that 6.5 is a lot of points to me in this game. I think the Jets defense keeps that offense in check. But Irvin, I think the Bucs have some tough sledding against that defense. I do. So,
Mike, I think you basically read all of my notes on that game. That's exactly all I have. I have a limping Tampa Bay offensive line. I have a Tyrod Taylor who's got 70 career touchdowns versus 30 picks. He's 7 yards per attempt. He's not afraid to throw it downfield. And, with some weapons, Garrett Wilson, you can see a big game out of him today. And that is interesting because if you don't mind, by the way, for me, it's Jets. And it's Jets in the over in that game as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Taylor, quality backup can steal you a game. That's why teams pay these benefits the money they do, so they can get you a win. And I mean, the Bucs are in a tough spot here with the injuries. So yeah, I'm on the Jets. If you don't mind, Chaz, introduce us because I'm ready to segue back to the list.
So number 3 into our top 5. Take it away, Matthew.
My team, guys. I think this is a team 0-2 that has a chance to make the playoffs this year. Now, granted, we said only 10%, so chances are still very slim to none. Maybe this team's not even 10%, but I got them anyway. It's the Jets. Dolphins stink, okay? The Patriots, maybe we're a little bit over our heads on the Patriots. Mm-hmm. We assumed the Patriots were going to be, Drake May and Vrabel, and they were going to get out to a hot start. Well, they haven't looked ultra consistent yet. So those are two teams right there in their own division that they could end up better than. Now, I know they're not going to catch the Bills, but there are 6 0-2 teams right now in the AFC. And one of the teams I talked about earlier being 2-0, I think right now, rest of the way, I think, there are teams that are going to play better than the Bengals. There's only so many teams that make the playoffs, guys. So for me, one of the 0-2 teams that has a shot, remember, Fields has to come back. If they steal a win this week, I think the Jets are playing the last place schedule. So outside of another game against Buffalo, they're playing their division still, which I just said they have a chance to be better than. I got the Jets sneaking up on some people, maybe grabbing that last playoff spot. Why not?
I like that. I like that call.
Okay,
I kind of had the same notes on them myself.
I'll go. So we just talked about this team, and Matt just referenced how much he hates them. So I'm going to talk about my bottom 0-2 team that may potentially and could potentially make the playoffs. But they're actually not 0-2. They're now 0-3. and that is the Miami Dolphins. So just hear me out before we shut the door completely and burn the house down, okay? With the exception of the Colts, they were in both of these games, okay? Maybe some bad decisions, sure, but if we tighten up the ship and we tighten up our defense, we can make these 1 or 2 score games go in our favor rather than the opposing team's favor. But the fact that they're in both of these games, the fact that they're in these games, which goes to show me that this team hasn't given up completely yet. They're still fighting. They're still playing for their coach, even though he may not make it to the end of the year. Which, if that's the case, I would really think that they are going to end up making a push here for the playoffs. But we didn't think that they were going to win the conference or win their division anyway. So we were never thinking about the Dolphins winning the division and being a divisional winner. We've always thought if they were going to limp in, it was going to be in the wild card playoff slot. So you're already down 2 divisional games, but that's not the end of the world yet. We knew that, like I said, we knew that they wouldn't win the division. And the AFC North has been struggling as well. You got the Bengals that are basically on the ropes. You got the Browns who always think, and you got the Steelers who can't figure out anything right now. So, which goes to show you that the AFC North usually sends 3 teams over into the playoffs. So now we're going to be able to maybe slide into that wild card 2 slot. And let's not forget, they have one of the most explosive offensive units that there is right now in football. We need to start exploiting that and taking advantage of our speed against everybody else. So Miami Dolphins, there is a path. It's slim. It's very small. It's a very narrow path, but there is a path that we can get into our wild card 2 slot for the Miami Dolphins at 0-3.
My team I want to talk about is, so I have like 3 teams on the fence I put for they're 2-0. I think you guys, Chaz, I think you talked about 2 of them, the Chargers and the Buccaneers, correct?
I did.
You talked about 2 of those teams. The third team I have on there that I'm not sold on yet. They've looked good through 2 weeks, but the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not sold on Danny Dimes being that guy consistently through 18 weeks, 17 games played in the season. You know what I mean? They have the makeup of a pretty good team in a weak division, so that benefits them. But he has to do more than show me through 2 weeks that he's that guy. Because, boy, he was very bad in New York. Now, it could have been Dayball, could have been coaching, could have been the situation. No running game, and he has that there. Plus, he has some good young receivers in Indy. The one thing I do like about him that he has, man, Tyler Warren has made that team a different breed right now. Because when you can't match up the tight end, you free space with the running game and their wide receivers. So on that end, I do like what the offense brings for him, but I'm just not sold on Danny Dimes being consistent down the stretch, because I think that whoever comes out of that division has to win that division. And I still think, we're only 2 weeks in, I still think it's going to be a 3-team race between the Colts, Texans, and Jaguars. I really do. So they're the last 2-0 team on my list. I really have no idea what's going to happen, but I could see them taking a step back and just missing the playoffs in the AFC. So.
Jonathan Taylor looks like 2019 Jonathan Taylor too. The offensive line top 5, and I mentioned I was high on guys like Josh Downs coming in this year. His metrics were off the charts. Again, with not great quarterback play, so you knew there was talent there. You saw that. I've got some stats. He's got some red zone targets leading the team. So he's a factor. They're good. They're a good team in a not so good division. So, they obviously give it a shot. Yeah,
the one thing that I look back on this team, how they're coached right now, they use Warren over the middle, and that freezes those linebackers, so they don't know what they're doing. They're going to run, they're going to pass. They're going to run. The play action works for Daniel Jones. Plus, his athletic ability running is a big factor, too.
He's a huge threat. And again, we talk about it too. Environment is everything. And it's not uncommon to see, quarterbacks change environments and all of a sudden, I don't even say resurrect their careers, but get the most out of them. There's Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. I mean, you can go through the list. And there's lots of quarterbacks that we've sent out the pasture, and all of a sudden they move to a different city, and it's like, where was this guy when he was there?
I think too, being out of the New York market helps this guy tremendously. Yeah. I really do. So
So
There you go.
we were a little bit worried that maybe Tyler Warren wasn't going to be able to go in this game, but he is cleared. He is poised to start and going up
Good.
against a Tennessee Titans defense, which you could say has struggled a little bit. I mean, the whole team struggled, but could be looking for a Tyler Warren huge game out of him. So before we jump back into our picks, I do want to say that, Mike, we talked about this last week in your famous favorite play in NFL history, the tush push. Per league sources are now going to be called tighter than it has been, considering the fact that there were some questions
Good.
about how it was
Good.
being
I hate
called
that goddamn
on
play.
Sunday.
All things that he likes, tight and tushes and all those sorts of things. So it makes perfect sense.
Hate
Yeah,
it.
it's,
Hate
why-
that play.
That's why,
Hate it. Hate it. Hate it.
that's why he talks about tight ends a lot.
yeah.
Hey,
So-
I like tight ends better than wide receivers. So
Hey.
To each their own.
that's it.
Yeah.
Next team or next game on the docket here is another quarterback fill-in. The Vegas Raiders are going to go over to Washington to play the Commanders, and the Raiders are going to get 2.5. And the Washington Commanders are going to be sitting Jaden Daniels and be starting Marcus Mariota. And the over-under is set at 43.5.
Okay, I'll go. I like the Raiders. It's unfortunate the Daniels injury. I don't know what Marcus Mariota has left at this point. Honestly, I don't. The last few times I remember seeing him play, it was limited. The offense was limited. I don't know. I mean, the Raiders just seem like they've got a little more talent on that side now. I sort of kind of believe in that offense almost, even though they really haven't gotten the most out of Genty. We're kind of waiting on that. But I don't know. Give me the Raiders in this spot. Unfortunate injury to Jay Daniels. It's going to be really tough to assess that team at this point, not going with him as a starter. So give me the Raiders on the road, and I will take the under in this game. I'm 43.
Jazz, you want to go or want me to go?
I'll go on this one. It don't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I agreed. I'm actually surprised that Vegas is the underdog in this situation. They're getting 2.5 here, and they're granted they're on the road, but clearly they have a little bit better of a roster with their starting quarterback being their starting quarterback. They're not running a backup quarterback. It sounds like somebody has a little bit more faith in Marcus Mariota than we do. But after that thrashing of the Raiders on last week, I think it was Monday night. This one of two games on Monday night. I think Pete Carroll bounces these guys back, and they get back on the winning track, and they don't want to feel that way again anytime soon. So I'm going to take the Raiders, going to get 2.5. But I'm going to take the over on this one. I don't know why. I'm just going to do it.
Okay, I'm going opposite you guys. I'm going to take Washington this one. I think they have a better defense. I think they have better playmakers on the outside. The Genty right now hasn't done much. I think because the offensive line isn't too bad. And Geno Smith returned to his old ways last game with 3 picks. Kind of scares me against Washington's secondary, how well they've been playing. So I'm taking Washington the under in this one.
Okay.
In a tight game, by the way. I think it's another tight game.
All right. And let's go into the next game, which is Atlanta Falcons going into Carolina to take on the Panthers. And the Falcons are going to give the Panthers, the home team, a 5.5 point lead. The over-under is set at 44.5.
Panthers for me, and the over. I do like Michael Penix. I do like the Falcons. Bijan Robinson's probably going to be the best player on the field that day on Sunday. But I don't know. I just still am holding to a little faith in the coaching of Carolina and quarterback of Carolina and just that ascension. I talked about it a lot with these teams. I know they're terrible defensively, but I mean, the Falcons aren't great defensively either, getting better. So I don't know. I mean, McMillan looks like the real deal. They were having a hard time covering him last week. He, had a couple of big plays. I think he's got almost 200 yards so far in the year. I think 170 or something like that. So I'm thinking the Panthers. They may not win, but 5.5 points, divisional game, home game, it's a lot. So Panthers and over.
I like the over in this game. What team am I going to pick here? I think Atlanta is obviously the better team in this situation. Michael Penix, though, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his. I'm still not. The defensive injuries on Carolina, I just see this game being a pretty high scoring game. You know what? Give me. Is Drake London's healthy? Correct? No.
Yeah.
No.
Far as
Okay.
I know.
To me, this is the Hubbard breakout game. This is a game where he's going to have one of these 8 catches for 60 and a touchdown, probably rush for 80 or 100 and a touchdown. Another high scoring. I'm leaning towards that sort of scenario.
Right. You know what? Give me Carolina in the over in this one as well. I think Atlanta wins it, but closer than the experts think by like a field goal. By the way, their kicker kept the job and Kim's gone.
Yep.
He got cut today.
I was going to bring that up. Koo is out. He has been released, and Romo has been signed today.
Yep.
So I hear what you guys are saying for Carolina, and yes, this could be a Hubbard breakout game. I could see exactly what you say happening. He's going to have 2 touchdowns, one through the air, one on the ground, but I think that's all the points they score. I think those 14 points are the only points they score. And because of that, I also think the Falcons are going to do the same thing. They're going to run Bijan, and they're going to run Algier, who's going to be playing this weekend. They're going to be running both of those backs in some type of fashion, whether it's Algier just catching the ball, but Bijan is probably going to feast in this game if I had to guess anything. And if that's the case, then this clock is going to move continuously because they're going to run the ball. And if they run the ball like that and they chew up clock and they have, 10, 11, 12 play drives, then, the time's going to run out on this game before they can get the score up that high. So I'm going to take the under on this, and I'm going to actually take the Falcons on this. I think in the grand scheme of things, what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, it looks like Atlanta still is the better team in this scenario. So I'm going to go with the better team in this scenario.
You going over or under?
Under.
Under. Okay.
Yep. I think there's going to be a lot of controlling the ball on offenses with running. So with that being said, they're going to chew up the clock a lot faster than they would any other way. So they won't have time to put 44 or 45 up in the time frame that they will. So the next game that we're going to talk about is 2 teams that we don't know on both sides of the ball what they're going to do. One's going to be terrible, or one's going to go back to their losing ways, or one's going to go back to their winning ways. We don't know. Houston Texans are going to go to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. The Texans are going to get 1.5 points, and the over-under is set at 43.5. So this sounds like a pick'em game. So, Mike, you love both of these teams. Why don't you tell me about them?
I don't love Houston at all. Jacksonville I do love, but you know what? Houston's desperate. They need a win. So I'm taking Houston in this one and the over. I think the offense finally wakes up. I think I was looking at the statistics. Houston hangs their head on their defense. Their defense is middle of the road right now, but their offense is atrocious. C.J. Stroud has taken steps backwards 2 straight years now. Nico Collins, after the touchdown on Monday night, he didn't see his invisible. He was John Cena. You can't see me. That being said, Houston needs a win very much here. I'm going with that. I'm still, another guy we got to talk about here, fellas. Brian Thomas Jr. Talk about a guy who could have ended. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Who?
Exactly.
Where's he been?
Yeah, right. And, now they're saying a possible wrist injury last week that he was playing with. Well, guess what? Why is he on the field? He dropped 2 huge passes that could have ended that game on 4th down. I'm not sold on Jacksonville, even though I still think they can make a run at that division. I just think you're looking at a desperate Houston team this week, going into Jacksonville, needing a win. Give me Houston the under. I think Houston wins this game outright. So,
yep. I'll go. I'm on the same page again. Defense is going to be the difference here. I think that's the strength of that team right now. The offensive line, I think there's going to be some gelling still. I have a little bit more faith than you do in the offense. I think they will get better. I'm not going to say turn around, but they'll get better. And Jacksonville just doesn't scare me. They just don't. I know Etienne has been really good. I know he's getting his usage. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has got 3 picks this year so far already. He's made some mistakes. He's typical. He does that. He makes bonehead decisions. So I will also take the desperate road team in this spot and also go with the under. So I got Texans in the under in this spot.
I took the over.
Oh, you did? Sorry.
Yeah, I took the over.
Then I'm going with the under in this spot.
Good. Another game will catch you.
So I'm going to make a bold statement here. I think Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game because there always ends up being a game where Jacksonville just kind of surprises us, right? It always ends up being like whoa, didn't expect that out of them, right? I think this is that game. I do. And again, we've talked about how much Houston has been struggling on offense with their offensive line lately and everything like that. So, it's going to go back into that. CJ Stroud is going to go into desperation mode and just try to throw balls around because he's not going to have the time to throw it. Their offensive line is just going to be letting Jacksonville just walk right in there. This is where you're going to get your Brian Thomas breakout game, right? This is when he shows up. This is when we say, hey, there the guy has been. And this is actually where you're going to say to yourself, and you're going to look at this game and you're going to go,
they need him to be that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence actually looked really good. He took care of the ball and he made smart decisions. I think that is this game. I think they exploit Houston for what they are. So I'm going to take the Jaguars in a pick'em game essentially, and I'm going to take the over in this.
Jaguars in the over. Okay.
Mike, did you take the over on this as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Okay. I think it is the perfect time, Matt, that we roll back into our top 5 and hit the number 2 teams on our list. I'll give it to you to start it out. You seem to be full of piss, wind, and vinegar right now, so go for it.
There you go. Here's a team. I cheated. I said I took 2 teams that were 2-0, 2 teams that were 0-2. This is a 1-1 team that I'm a little nervous about, and I know you guys wouldn't have.
I know what he's talking about because he's a clown. He doesn't know their record.
It's the Lions. And the reason why I'm a little worried about the Lions is because, they look really good last week. I thought he was going to go with the
Broncos.
They played the Bears, and we know how good they are. And there was a little narrative there. I think that was like a little mini playoff Super Bowl atmosphere, wanting to kind of show up their old coach a little bit. I think there was some narrative there. But that aside, tough matchup this week for the Lions versus Green Bay, and 3 of their next 4 games are on the road. So
wait a minute. Time out. The Lions play Baltimore this week.
Right. I know that. I'm saying that the Lions have 3 of the next 4 games on the road, and they already lost to Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
So they already have – Green Bay already has a game in hand on them. Mm-hmm. So tough matchup for them this week against Baltimore. If I said Green Bay, I didn't mean that. But no, it's obviously Baltimore. I'm picking Baltimore when we get to that game, kind of segue. But for me, it's the Lions again, just because the schedule is tough. I still think, and I'm going to hold to it, that losing 2 coaches, even though they just beat up one pretty good, still is going to be a difference at some point in that team. I know they're talented and they look really good offensively last week. I know that's who they are. But again, it's going to be difficult. This little stretch, this road stretch of games, starting with this week, is going to be very, very difficult for them. So if they navigate that, then I'm wrong. But the Lions would be one of the teams that I'm a little bit concerned about coming off of last week's big win. I wouldn't be buying all their stock quite yet.
Good, Chaz.
All right, Mike, I'm going to talk about your favorite team over in the AFC South, or maybe, I don't know. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward as my 0-2 team that could potentially make the playoffs. Now, here's the first thing you need to do. Take that playbook, cut it in half, and simplify the hell out of it, right? You got a rookie quarterback coming in. Let's not try to put the world on his shoulders. Let's give him some time to breathe. Let's give him some things that he's comfortable doing and build some confidence with the man. Let him be a star. He was down in Miami. Let's continue that up here, right? It's not like they have bad wide receivers either. They still got 2 pretty good wide receivers. Not the best in the league, but still good wide receivers, reliant wide receivers. You got Calvin Ridley on one end, and you got Tyler Lockett on the other end, right? Tyler Lockett, we've known up in Seattle, has put that team on his back numerous times and gotten them many wins up in Seattle. Well, I would not think that Tennessee shouldn't be doing the same with him there. You got some stars on defense too. You got Xavier Woods in the safety position. You got L'Jarius Sneed out there at middle linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. So, you got some anchors on defense that you can rely on to get your defense up to par and fire them up for every drive. Not to mention, you're still sharing a division with the Jaguars and the Texans, who can't seem to figure anything out just yet, even though we just got done talking about 2 of them. Now, it's more than likely shaping up that you're going to have the Colts possibly winning this division as it shapes up right now. There's nothing here to state that the Colts doesn't have a drop-off just like everything else. They have Danny Dimes. We talked about how he's surprising us right now. He may go back to Danny Dimes' form in New York and completely collapse. So in that scenario, Tennessee has a middle-of-the-pack type of schedule coming up as well. So you turn some of these games into wins. You find yourself maybe in possibly a wild card one, or bold enough to say could possibly win the division, considering it is so open. So Tennessee is my number 2 0-2 team that could potentially make the play.
Tennessee and number 2 is a good verbiage together. Just letting you know. Yeah. So I don't have any other 0-2 teams besides the obvious, which I think I'm not even going to talk about. I think Kansas City returns the form and gets their mojo back, so I'm not going to waste time. But I want to talk about the team they're playing this week, New York Giants. So if any time is a time to make a statement, boy, they have a game this week against Kansas City at home, where I think their defensive line could have wrecked the hell out of Kansas City's offense. I really do. Kansas City's not, they don't have any kind of identity at all on that team right now on offense at all. And that defensive line, if they get at it, I'm surprised how easily Dallas tore them up. But I think it was just a game that just got a hand for both teams. It sucks to say I want to see Russ Phil because I want to see Jackson Dart in there if I'm a Giants fan. Let's get this stuff started because I think the kid's going to be a star in this league. I really do. And Chaz, one of your guys, Cam Scatterboo. Wow. Let me tell you, he might be the lead back sooner than later in with the New York Giants.
Well, let me just tell you, too, that Tracy Jr. is poised to come back. So let's take that into consideration here.
And then listen, I think he's a good back to it, and that could be a nice 1-2 punch. You know what I mean? So I'm not sitting here telling you guys I think they're going to be a playoff contender. I don't. But I just if I'm a Giants fan, I think things are finally looking up for them. You got arguably the number one wide receiver in football, in Neighbors. You know, you have an offensive line that's getting better. Scadaboo is not that saying he's the almighty, but he's a good guy to have with Tracy. That could be a nice 1-2 punch for them. And
Scadaboo leads the team in red zone targets with 8, by the way.
And let's talk about the other guy no one's talking about, Warndell Robinson. The guy last year he couldn't catch a cold. This year the guy's tearing it up opposite Neighbors.
So
you
would have to almost look at the fact that you have the only team in that division that can actually do anything with the Philadelphia Eagles. But now we're talking about 2 other teams in that division that are really struggling right now, which is the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. So who's not to say that the Giants can't jump both of those teams and hit and slot themselves second in that division, possibly in a wild card spot?
You're right. Good thing, but the problem is that they're already 0-2 because they did lose the Commanders and the Cowboys in their first 2 games. Well, that's a long season. But again, like you said, who's to say? Yeah, who's to say?
Who's to say you can't go 4-2? Who's to say you can't go 3-3?
So, but yeah, I'm actually kind of interested in how they fare against the Chiefs. I mean, we all think the Chiefs are going to win this game, but if that defensive line gets after Mahomes, could be an interesting night on Sunday night. So
yeah, Giants defense is statistically the worst in the league to this point in terms of yardage allowed. They've given up 455 yards a game.
They gave up 800 to Dallas. I mean,
so it's like, I mean, Kansas City's not good offensively. They haven't been good offensively. I think 8-9 straight games where they have scored under 25 points or something like that. They're averaging like 23 points a game over the last 2 seasons, which puts them, I think, 24th or 25th, kind of towards the bottom tier. So they're not good offensively. They're better defensively. So it's curious to see how they'll shape up.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get to that game. So that should be a quick pick on that game. But in the meantime, let's go right down the line. Let's start with our first 4:00 game, which is the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers, which I'm hoping is probably going to be the game of the weekend. So the Broncos are going to the Broncos are getting 2.5, being the road team, and the over/under is set at 45.5. I got to be honest, I'm torn with this because I like both of these teams essentially.
What's the over/under in this one? 46?
45.5.
45.5. Okay.
Yes. I'm kind of torn on these teams because I like them both, and I would like both of them to do well in this. But I'm going to have to take the points in this scenario, and I'm going to have to take Denver getting 2.5 to give them a little bit of an edge on this. I do think this is a field goal game, but the Broncos coming into the Chargers, and it's a 4:00 game, which is going to be essentially 1:00 their time. But I like Denver in this scenario because I like Sean Payton more. And I think that's probably going to be the difference when it comes down to this game because they pretty much match up equally, offense and defense, on those sides of the ball. So this could come down to maybe even special teams, a big play on special teams that end up breaking this game wide open. So kind of like what happened to the Steelers last week in their blunder of a kickoff return. So I'm going to go with the Broncos, and I'm going to go under in this game because I think it's going to be real tight, being a divisional game. So that's the way I see it.
I'll go, Mike. 2 good defenses. Maybe Denver's defense not as good as we thought. They're bottom third in terms of rushing through the first 2 games. They've looked mortal. We hyped them. We thought Denver, best defense in the league. Not so fast before that plays out. I think Peyton gets ahead of himself a little bit. I don't know what he's doing with R.J. Harvey. I don't know what he's doing with some of the offensive pieces. It seems like he just purposely wants to get everybody involved as opposed to just putting the best pieces. interesting thing about the Chargers, if they win this game, they start the season with 3 divisional wins. And that's so I'm on the Chargers here. Even though it's not really much of a home field advantage. I don't know. I just think better quarterback. And I know we talk about Harbaugh and whatever. I think Harbaugh's got a better feel than maybe Peyton does. So Chargers at home, under the total, a little more of a defensive game. I think the Broncos play a little better defense. Chargers trying to establish that run. Chargers in the under. Easy for me.
I'm on the same boat with you, Matt. I'm going to say a word that I've been saying since the beginning of the year. A phrase, sophomore slump for Knicks right now. He's not making the same plays. He only targeted Cortland Sutton 4 times last week. Really weird. Now Franklin has turned it up for them. I mean, the kid's nice. I mean, if you want a little fantasy tidbit there, guys, Troy Franklin has turned into a heck of a wide receiver for the Broncos.
I picked him up about 4 days. Picked him up this week.
Really?
Sorry.
So I'm on the Chargers and the under in this one, but I have a little disagreement with this team. Hampton, I don't see it, Matt. I don't see Hampton. I know you're big on him. I could see Najee getting 50%, 60% of the carries coming soon, because I think Hampton has fumbling issues. It says 2 fumbles in his last 17 carries. He's not that back. He's not that back right now, and I think once Najee's 100%, I could see him. And Harvey Dobbins has taken that job from Harvey wholeheartedly in Denver, so that's interesting. 2 of the rookie running backs who everyone thought was going to blast off on the seam. The 2 veteran coaches are sticking with their veteran. I think Harris will become the lead back soon. I think Hampton's the more explosive back between him and Harris. I just think Harris is more physical and what the Chargers want right now. So,
Well, it's not so much that I'm high on Hampton that I love Hampton. I'm just going by what the numbers are, and he's got 9 points. He's 4th in the league in run game targets right now, Hampton. So it's about usage for me. It's what Harbaugh.
I get that. Look at his numbers; they're not good.
Oh, and again, I'm not debating his performance. I'm looking about opportunity. If he's still getting the opportunity in the red zone, then I'm going to lean that direction and I'm picking somebody because, again, he's their guy. Again, I don't know exactly why all of his performance is it on him? Is it on the offensive line? Is it situational stuff? I just know if he's the one that they're targeting, there's a reason for it, and he's getting an opportunity. So
how about the crazy rebirth of Quentin? Yeah. The kid's had 2 of his best games of the pro the last 2 weeks. So, So
well, it's funny because I'm going to pull it up real quick. I want to snap sheet.
So I'm with him, Chaz. I'm taking the Chargers in the under. So.
Yep, we're all on the under on this one. And Khalil Mack is out for at least 4 weeks with a dislocated elbow. They put him on IR. Yeah, it is a big blow. One of the reasons why I took Denver in that scenario.
Wait, Justin Herbert's playing at MVP level right now. He's playing some great football right now.
He is.
He really is.
And we've only been waiting for 8 years for him to finally break out and play some good quarterbacking. So let's talk about the next game here. Matt, you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay. So the next game here is the New Orleans Saints are getting 7.5 when they go to Seattle to face the Seahawks. That probably are not going to have.
Yeah, we lost you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
There you go.
Okay. Yep. Well, don't know. But the New Orleans Saints are going to go up to Seattle and take 7.5 points with them when they take on the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are going to probably be without Charbonnet, who is doubtful this week. The over-under is set at 41.5. 7.5, that's a lot. But the Saints haven't really showed me anything to where I'm scared of that 7.5. So I hate Sam Darnold. But
oh my God,
we didn't know.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to figure that out. That I didn't like the guy, but I don't like the guy. So, but I see a good thing when I see it, and there's no way I can give up the fact that the New Orleans Saints suck, and they're going to be on the road. The highlight of the Saints is the fact that they still have Alvin Kamara, and they were able to keep him somehow. When him not deciding, hey, the hell with this place, I'm out of here. I'm never going to win here. Uh, the only problem is that he's never going to get 1,000-yard season rushing in that place either. So, which is beyond my capability of understanding the fact that this guy hasn't had 1,000-yard rushing season yet. But I'm going to take Seattle in home. I'm going to rely on the 12th man to help them out in this 7.5 spread. I'm also going to go on the under in this game. I think this game sucks. I don't like it at all. I hate the fact that I even have to pick it. So I'll just leave it at that. I hate it.
All right, I'm gonna follow you up on this one. I'm taking New Orleans in the 7.5. I think it's too much for the team. Somehow New Orleans gets sloppy. I'll tell you, got to watch. Juwan Johnson has turned into a target monster for the Saints. Spencer Rattler loves this guy. If you want to play a tight end in fantasy, that's a guy to pick up because Spencer. I think he's 21 targets. Matt, am I right with that?
Yeah, and what's crazy is that they're not even lining him up as a tight end; they're lining him up in the slot. So he's counted as a tight end. Yeah, he's not playing.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a beast with Kamara, and they played. To me, they're between, like I said, them, Miami, Carolina, probably the 3 worst teams in the league. But I think they'll backdoor this game, backdoor cover. But give me the Saints and the over in this one.
Okay. Saints are one of the worst scoring teams in the league. They're scoring 17 points in the 2 games. I think it's all, these are short sample sizes usually. I don't see the offense all the same. Rattler, who was the 32nd ranked quarterback according to Football Focus this year for a reason. That offense has been struggle all year. And Seattle's defense is a top defense. Tough place to play in Seattle. I don't even think 7.5 points is enough. Again, guys, for me, this is like cooking either Jello or marshmallows. I don't need either one of them. So Seattle and the under. Maybe this game is like 23-4. Something like that. So we'll see how it works out.
Are you calling it?
Could be 2 self-induced safeties by Seattle.
So hold on. Are you calling Seattle for a defensive score? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, wait. Actually, my defensive score, I always mentioned it before. I think it was going to be, I'll have to get back to it. It's one of the games we already mentioned.
Jazz had a defensive score last week, by the way. He had a kick return.
I had a kick return.
Shit, you nailed it. That's awesome.
Matt had one too. Matt had one.
I did too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let's let me double check here. Because I made sure. Yeah, you took the Cardinals. They had a defensive score.
They had 2.
It was.
They had 2.
I only saw the one. What was it? A fumble recovery for a touchdown, right?
New Mexico State, Arizona.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, if you guys aren't getting Wagner this weekend, you're going to be idiots. That's all I'm saying. So, what was I going to say? Okay, so my defensive score this week is going to be the Titans.
Titans. Okay. Titans?
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy Dimes is definitely giving one up this weekend. Sack, fumble recovery, safety, touchdown, both. I don't know. Something.
All right. I'll give my defensive touchdown after we get to the end of this list. So the next game that we have on is a wild game because it's basically a pick'em game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Dallas Cowboys going to Chicago, and the point spread on this one is 1.5 to Chicago. Okay.
It's a pick'em.
Yes, it's a pick'em, which is very wild to me because looking this on paper, you would think that Dallas is the far better team. But the over-under on this is set at 49.5. I'm going to go first on this. Chicago still looks like they're in a disarray of what the hell they want to do as a football team altogether. Dallas just seems like they're crazy to say this, but they're more cohesive together in this. Dak is slinging it all over the place. He's got CD and he's got that
Playing well.
stupid fucking Pickens, and they're a good little duo that they have over there. I'm almost appalled that this game is a pick 'em at this juncture, and because of what we've seen from Chicago at this point. And so I'm gonna take Dallas, and I'm gonna take the over on this game. I feel like I haven't taken an over in a long time here.
Well, here's my take on the game. First of all, Pickens is leading the team in red zone targets with 4. Rest of the team has 3 in terms of the receivers. Interesting. Here's the thing about the Cowboys-Bears game. If you guys want to have lobster all next week instead of mac and cheese, take the alt line in this game over to like 60 and just bet the over. Because this is going to be a game where I also, too, bet the under in the total number of punts in this game. I don't know what that number is, but take the under. Lay the juice. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, this is a score fest. I'm hoping, because I'm going to load up on DFS on both these sides. I just think the better quarterback is Dallas. I think that the Bears are going to get exposed defensively, like you talked about, Mike, the defense not playing well. I think the Cowboys got pieces on offense. I think Javonte Williams, look out, little resurgence, getting targets, 7 targets last week out of the backfield, gets pretty good. They're humming. They're humming on offense, and I think they continue. So, the Cowboys, I don't think the over, take the alt line at 60, go get some lobster. Cha-ching.
Cowboys and over. Matt,
I
have a feeling. Yeah, Matt, I have a feeling that if I follow your lead, I'm going to go from eating lobster to tuna. So I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and take your word for alt line of 60 in this game. Okay, maybe an alt line of 6. Okay.
So, agree with you guys both. The high scoring game, but just because both defenses I think are so bad. Dallas won a game last week they had no business to win because the Giants could not stop them whatsoever. I think that was a lack of them not getting to Dak and the wide receivers and tight ends just killing them. But that being said, I think Chicago wakes up and wins the game at home, and Caleb Williams actually has a good game against Dallas because I think Dallas can't stop anybody. So I am taking the Bears in a shootout. Bears in the over, 30-27. Chicago wins their first game of the year.
Mike, I think those Clippers got too close to your brain.
For the over, the Cowboys.
What's that?
I said, Mike, I think those Clippers got too close to your brain.
Oh, yeah, by the way, that looks tight, brother. Get close to the camera. Let's see that thing. Yeah, drop down like this. Holy shit, that thing is big.
Damn. Not as big as yours. Come on.
That's true. That's true.
All right, let's go to another game here where we are substituting a quarterback. But in this case, it actually seems like it's an upgrade a little bit. So the Arizona Cardinals are getting 2.5 in the Bay for the 49ers, and the over-under is 44.5. And it looks like Mac Jones is going to start his second week in a row. And get this, Brock Purdy is healthy enough to back him up in this game.
Interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting.
I like the defense. I'll go. I like the Niners. I think their defense is much better. I think that Robert Saleh's got a home, and we knew he was a defensive coordinator, but I just think that they're just better on that side. I think they know that they're going to have to carry that offense so they can get their some of their pieces back on that side. McCaffrey, by the way, if we were wrong on him, I know I was wrong at least at this point, was worried. That dude's got 14 red zone targets, by far most in the league. So not only is he getting opportunity, but he's getting the right opportunity, and he's still, getting a lot of looks. And he's the only one that's healthy, so that's going to continue. Can't see it changing until he's taken off the field in some kind of way. But anyway, I'm on the Niners, and I like the defense in this game, so I'll take the under.
Okay, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this one. I'm riding Matt's tail, San Fran and the under. That, like I said, I'm not big on what Arizona has been doing offensively. I think the Niners are a better defensive team. I think they're just going to ride McCaffrey and Jennings train and Purcell. So I could see a like a 24-17 game, San Fran winning at home.
Remember Shanahan went and got Mac Jones. That's his guy. Likes him.
Yep.
And Mac's playing well. He's a good backup. So
Yep.
roll it.
Well, ladies, I think this is the first time that we've had this year that we've all are going to go on one team and we're all going to go on an under or an over. But at any rate,
San Francisco on the under?
At any rate, I think we're all just on the same page with this game. Again, this is a game I don't even want to pick. It sounds stupid, looks stupid. So let's just hope it's not stupid and actually entertains us. So yeah, give me the Niners. I'll lay the points and I'll take the under on this as well. So let's go with the last game on the Sunday slate, which is our Sunday night game, and it's going to be probably one of the only primetime games the Giants are going to get this year, and that's because the Chiefs are coming to town. So the Chiefs are going to give 6.5 to the Giants at home, and the over/under is set at 45.5.
I'll keep it simple. Chiefs in the under. The close game. The Chiefs have not only beaten anybody, but led in any game in 2 years by 7 points, let alone, win the game by 7 points. It just seems like a lot. The Giants defense is a little better than that. So Giants in the under in this game for me. That's my pick.
You're taking the Giants?
Yeah, Giants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Giants in the under. I think KC wins, but Giants in the under. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I misunderstood.
San Fran, okay.
I did. I think I took the Chiefs too. I misunderstood.
No,
All right.
Yeah.
Go, Chaz.
All right. I'm not going to waste time. I like the Giants getting 6.5 at home, and I actually think this is going to be an over game. What Russell and the gang had showed me in Dallas was that they can still sling the ball, and he still has that moonshot. So, yeah, I mean, basically, what is that, 23.5 or 22.5 points per team? Yeah, I think they can do that. So give me the over and give me the Giants.
What is it, 44.5? Is that the over-under?
45.5. 45.5.
Yep.
45.5. 6.5. 45 and 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be an inside total of 25.5 points for KC. That's what they're expecting. And they're averaging 23 over the last two. I think Vegas is missing on this one, but that's just what I see.
Wow. I'm going with Kansas City and the over in this one. And that's my defensive touchdown, especially if Russ is playing. But give me the Chiefs with a defensive touchdown and the 28-20 win for Kansas City. So KC and the over, I will take.
All right.
I can't believe how on fire we are with these defensive touchdowns. It's crazy. We have 4 of them between us. That's crazy.
Okay. It is.
All right.
Last game, and we get back to the list if you want.
Nope, we're going to get to the list, and then we're going to get to our last game.
Boom. Segue.
So,
keep going.
I don't have a segue, but I'll go.
Go.
I'm going to take a surprising team for everybody. And this is my number 1 team, 0-2 team, to potentially make the playoffs. And that is the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I said the Cleveland
Where's
Browns.
your womp sound there? We need that sound effect now. There it is.
Yeah. As I said that, you guys went like this. So, yes, I did say the Cleveland Browns. Why? Because Cincinnati is all but dead without Joe Burrow, right? Now they have some flashes in the pan here with Jake Browning, but still, that they paid that guy for a reason, and that's because he's better than Jake Browning. So, I think Cincinnati doesn't even make the playoffs this year. I don't even think Cincinnati has a winning season this year. And again, the Steelers don't look like they can pull their shit together either. So the door is almost wide open. We know that Baltimore is going to run away with this division. It's
You hear
already
him, Matt?
been.
I don't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
What is going on?
There you go.
Hello. Okay.
There you go.
Cincy ain't going to do it. Steelers ain't going to do it. Basically, what I said. We know that Baltimore is going to run away with this division. It already looks like they're doing so ahead. But you got Joe Flacco, you got Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, Judkins, who's actually coming on. He had a pretty good game. So now they got a run game to go along with their little bit of a passing game going there. They barely lost to a Burrow-led team in the opening day, 17-16. Could have went the other direction. They could have won that game too. They have an easier midseason schedule, so they can string together a couple of wins when they play the Jets, the Pats, the Bears, the Titans, and the Niners. You still have Myles Garrett on a defensive side to try to disrupt whatever offense is coming into. And if Flacco can recapture his late 23 form where he let the world on fire, that ultimately end up taking the Browns into the playoffs, right? And they're tied for 12th when it comes to the strength of their schedule. So again, they can make moves here and string a couple wins together, and it could turn their season around. I'm not saying it's possible, but I'm saying it's doable. But again, we all know that the Browns are the Browns, but maybe in this case, they stop being the Browns and they actually start winning.
There you go.
That's fair. But the Browns making the playoffs, that's it's even hard to say it, consistent.
Oh, I agree.
It's almost like
I agree. But at this point in time, all the AFC is not what we thought it was going to look like.
Yeah.
Thus far.
Yeah.
True.
I mentioned it. I'll go next, Mike. It's simple for me. You talked about Arizona, the 2-0 start. I've got them losing this week to the Niners, so maybe this is the beginning of their tough road to follow. That defense in that division is so good. Rams are 4th yards allowed. Niners are 6th yards allowed. Seattle's 11th yards allowed. That's going to stay consistently for the rest of the year. Those defenses are going to be always very top defenses in that conference and that division. So that division it's going to be a tough sled. It's going to be a brutal, difficult, physical, divisional schedule that they've got to deal with. So, and again, I just don't have any faith in Kyler Murray, and I don't have any faith in Arizona at all, really. So from that perspective, for me, it's Arizona, 2-0 team that could start to fall through this week, and we'll see it continue on towards the end of the year, where they typically second half of the year tend to fall off. So we'll see how it continues.
So I'm going to end this up by saying we've covered a lot of teams, so it's hard to come up with another team here that we've all covered. I'm going to throw the San Francisco 49ers as a team I could see falling apart. They're dealing with smoke and mirrors right now because they have so many damn injuries. Offensively, they have Jennings is playing but hurt. Kittle's hurt. Ayuk hasn't played yet. Brock Purdy's back as a backup this week. Christian McCaffrey, can he stay healthy? Big question. He looks great right now, though. I'm eating crow because he looks so damn good. I'm still happy I didn't take him because I wouldn't. I'm afraid of his injury. Again, they're in a tough. I'm not saying a tough division, but they're in an interesting division. I think the Rams are head and shoulders the best team in that division. I think the Cardinals and Niners are kind of in the same boat. I think that the Niners have a much better defense than the Cardinals. But I don't know how healthy they'll be throughout the year on offense. So it kind of worries me. And I'm going to take the Niners to possibly miss the playoffs because of that. So.
Is that everybody? Is that everybody?
Yeah.
That's everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The last game on our slate. Matt, you already picked it, but at least half of it. But our Monday night game is going to be the Detroit Lions going into Baltimore. The Lions are going to get 4.5, and the largest over under of the week at 53.5. Matt, you've already
Well,
halfway done this and said Baltimore's your team, so go ahead and give me your over under.
yeah, I mean, the 4.5, it's a significant number. I think Vegas is telling you something there. The 4.5 is probably right. By the way, totals this weekend, I mentioned favorites were 22-10 against the spread. Over and unders, overs are 17-15 versus the spread to this point. So a little bit of a lean towards the overs.
Yeah,
2
so
weeks
basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, well, but from week to week, there were two different stories.
Right.
The first week we had a ton of overs. Second week we had some unders. It kind of balanced. So yeah. Okay, back to this one. For me, it's the Ravens. I just think they're so good and so balanced. I mean, the Lions, I don't know. I think there's still going to be some tough road for them. I mentioned it. Tough schedule, tough road schedule, really tough schedule. Man, Lions, the Ravens, the Packers out of the gate, really hard. Give me the Ravens. I will take the over in this game. I think the highest total deserves to be such. So I will take it. I think the Ravens get into the 30s. So Ravens and over.
Go, Chaz.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Dan Campbell in this scenario. We've all talked about how Harbaugh seems to, especially at the end of the year, just kind of fall off in coaching. I just kind of like the fact that I'm just going to get points in this scenario. Now, if this was a pick'em game, this was going to go to Baltimore's advantage. But I think the fact that I'm getting more than I thought I was going to get in Detroit or for Detroit, that even if this game ends in a 3-0 tie or a 3-0, obviously not 3-0 tie, but if this game ends 3-0 Baltimore, I still end up winning this one. So I'm going to take these points because if they lose by a field goal, like I said, I'm still winning. So I do think that Baltimore wins this game, but I think the Lions cover. But I think this is going to be an under game. That 53.5, granted, that's high for this, and it probably should be right where it's at. But I'm thinking that if either one of these defenses are letting up that many points, then they have more issues than we can possibly think of. Because they're letting up so many, especially Detroit and even Baltimore. Baltimore let up 41 points in their first game of the year. So again, a 53.5. If they're in the 40s again, that's when your offense is your best defense because you can't stop them on defense. So you're going to have to score points on offense. So I'm hoping this is an under game, but I'm going to take the points in Detroit.
Okay, so we're all picking different in this one. I am taking the Lions because of that 4.5. I think Baltimore wins this 33-30, 31-28. But give me the Lions in that 4.5, and I like the over in this one. The Lions and the over. But I do think Baltimore wins it, unfortunately. So
yeah. My defensive touchdown. I had it, and then I don't. Oh, there it is. I did write it down. I was hoping I did. The Cincinnati Bengals are my defensive touchdown for this week. I think Carson. I think Carson Wentz is going to be a little bit too loosey goosey on that, so they're going to get my.
Chaz, you went Cincy.
Yep.
Matt, you went.
Matt went Tennessee.
Yeah, I went Tennessee. Sorry, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I went Kansas City.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, for the touchdown.
All right.
I know we chatted a while, and I know we're probably near the end, but I just want to throw out, and this could help you guys as well, and I'll send you what I got. But just the importance when because I know you guys are betting and doing the fantasy and our season longs. Everybody out there is doing it, but it's important to tell the story as to what's going on. And I use a site, I think it's called Football Pros or whatever it is. But if you just put in Snap Share, there's a site that comes up and gives you percentages every week, every player for the offenses. Snap share, red zone targets, route percentages, all these different things to tell the story. And, some of the things I'll just point out real quick. Like if we talked about Dallas, we talked about the resurgence of Javonte Williams. And there's a reason for it, okay? First of all, he's getting 72% of the snap share. So a little bit more than we had thought. So really there's no competition there. And target-wise, he's gotten 7 targets in the last game, okay, overall. A lot for a running back to get 7 targets. Okay, obviously, if you're in a full-point PPR setting, that's major scoring. So that's a guy that, based on usage and opportunity, is going to give you good production. Here's some guys. We talk about guys that are maybe a little more obscure. I'll go to Indy's receiving core. Who's talking about Indy's receivers? Well, there's value there. The guys like Pierce, who's 90% on the field. He's leading the team in red zone targets with 7. He's a guy, Alec Pierce, has been there a long time. Nobody's talking about him. So, these are guys that if you find players like this, you can certainly put them in flex positions when we get towards where the rosters get thin with injuries or we get into some of the bye weeks. Maybe you can stash 1 or 2 of these players and know that you've got them down the line. But there's lots of guys. Raiders, another example. Who's their number 2? Tucker, 90% snap share. He's their deep threat. Tennessee, Ayamanor. He's their clear number 2, 73% snap share. These aren't household names, but they're probably on your waiver wire. They're probably out there available, and you can probably go get some of these guys now, like I did with Franklin from Denver. I got him 2 weeks ago because I was looking at Mims and how they were using the offense and realizing in that situation that Franklin's on the field 90% of the time.
Yep.
So a guy that's on the field 90% of the time in an offense that's throwing the football, guess what? I want a piece of that. So that's why, you're looking at stuff like this. Red zone targets is another one. Opportunity, we talked about it. Here's another one, Jalen Warren for the Steelers. He's got 9 red zone opportunities, 9 red zone targets so far. He's the guy, okay? He's not being priced like he's the guy, not on DraftKings, not in their algorithms. He's somewhere in the middle of the pack. But he's giving you opportunity towards the top of the pack. So you got to look at stuff like that. So
speaking of DK, yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I looked at all that stuff. Jalen Warren, 5,500 at DK. Cheap. Super cheap.
It's for some reason you can't score in fantasy or in a prop for your yardage bet that you have unless you're on the field and involved in the offense. So you got to look at the story. This is an example, and again, obviously we're going late here. I have Cook from Buffalo in every league. I was really high on him this year.
I thought it was a bad pick for me.
I did too, but he's on the trading block for me, and I'll tell you why. I still think the offense runs through Josh Allen, but when I looked at the snap share, there are other 3 running backs on that team that are all getting 25% more snap share. I don't think McDermott is afraid to use his horses. I don't think it's the hot hand. It's using the talents that you have, and they've got all versatile backs. Ty Johnson, played some snaps. He's a 3rd down guy, catches the football. So, you have to be able to get into these teams, know what their offenses do, their tendencies, get in to see who's on the field, in what situations, and what their potential output could be. That's the story you're looking for. We can't get emotionally tied into what we think's going to happen. Or if we saw something happen last week, that doesn't mean it's going to happen again this week. There's reasons for, why they play it. So I don't know. I just think there's tools out there that if you get into that, it tells the story more effectively than us trying to figure out and looking at box scores and just, trying to get a story that way. To me, it's lazy, but it's just how I feel.
My four big players for DK this week are all really cheap players. Caleb Williams is a guy, 5,600, one of the lower ranked quarterbacks. Dobbs for Green Bay. When right now they have an injury riddled wide receiving core. Reed's out, Watson's still hurt. Now Tucker showed up on the IR injury list today. So Romeo Dobbs is only 4,800 right now on DK. Texas defense 2,700. And Jalen Warren, like I said, 5,500. So when I whip you again, Matt, this week, you'll see those guys running up and down the field against you, put puts up. So just letting you know.
Yeah, listen, I'm on some pieces too. I'm high on anything I talked about Dallas and Chicago. When I said the alt line, I was talking about the over/under on that alt line for 60. Yeah. I love CeeDee Lamb this weekend, like Javonte Williams. I like Rome Odunze. Here's a sneaking tight end waiver wire pickup. If you need a player this week, and again, it's just based on opportunity and injury too, and looking at red zone shares and everything. Jake Tongs for San Francisco. Okay, remember you got Mac Jones there now running the offense. Don't know what the relationship is with that guy, but he got 5 targets last week with Mac Jones. So he was 4 catches for 4 out of 5, 31 yards. But more importantly, he was on the field 90% of the time. So I'll take a tight end on the field 90% of the time. Okay, now I don't know if that's the game script this week, but obviously no Kittle. They believe in this guy to give him opportunity and workload. Let's hope it continues. By the way, he's like $2,900 on DK. So he doesn't have to get, a lot of production. If he gets a touchdown, you forget about value. He blows it out of the water. So that's something
funny story last night. I decided to put Jalen Waddle in one of my. He did nothing, but he did score a touchdown and give me 11 points. So I'm happy with that. So.
All right.
So just what I got. Yeah, just for funsies, I went through week 1 and week 2, and looked at how many games we picked together and if we got those right, if we were seeing the board the same way. So week 1, we picked 5 games together between the against the spread and the over/under. So 5 picks we made. We're all together. We were all on one. We hit 2 of those 5. On week 2, we picked 10 together. We hit 7 of them.
Wow.
So this week, and I just went through this week, we have 7. So we'll have to see what this week pans out. That if we're seeing.
Tell Matt, what's the total now? Our picks, where we're at.
So, including Thursday night's game, our overall football standings. This is including college as well. But if you want just NFL, I can do NFL. But overall football standings are Matt and Mike are tied at 48 wins and 44 losses. And I am not that far behind at 44 wins and 48 losses. But in terms of just NFL, between the over-unders and the against the spreads, the NFL overall standings, Matt is 50%, 33 and 33. Mike, you have a little bit of a lead on him at 35 and 31. And I'm beating all of you at 36 and 30.
Wow. But I took a crap last week. I really shit the bed.
Yeah, your last week, your over-unders last week, Matt. You're against the spreads, you were 5 and 11. You're over/under 7 and 9.
That's not too bad then. Yeah,
no. Mike went 13 and 3 on over/unders last week, and I went 12 and 4 on over/unders against the spreads. 12 against the spreads. 12 and 4.
Yeah. Well, I had a 20-point underdog win by 20, got a coach fired, and sent the program into disarray. That's what I did. So that's my power down here in South Florida right there, boys. So take that. Yep. If I can get a kicker fired in fantasy football, I can certainly ruin a historical college program. So, don't worry about that. That's easy. So,
that's funny.
Yep. Good job.
That's funny.
You just took food off the table for some kid. Way to go.
Who's next? Who's the player to lose their job this week at Central Michigan? Let's see. I don't know. I say fire the kicking coach, dirtbag. So.
Well, we'll see. Can't be that. Can't be the guy that was stealing signs from them. So.
Right. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I think that is concluding our time here tonight.
Yes, sir.
I don't see any reason why else we should be talking about sports, considering that we've been on for almost two hours and 15 minutes or so. Yeah, 2:15,
sounds good.
2:20. So we got everything in. Good luck on your DFS. Good luck on your fantasies. Good luck on your prop bets if you're putting in any. And let's have some fun this weekend and watch some games. And hopefully, if you're going to place money, win it. And if you're not, have fun with your bets.
Yeah, Matt, don't forget to put your lineup in DK.
I think I did.
Okay, I sent it to you. So, Chad, you got to get on there.
Yeah.
It's been me, Matt, and my buddy Al.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can. I don't have anything going on Sunday except for watching the game. So maybe I'll do it Sunday and then I'll get in for the next week.
all right.
You got to
Sounds good.
send me. You got to send me a link though.
Yeah, I will.
All right. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tuesday
Yep.
at 9
Thanks,
o'clock.
See you guys.
Take it easy
luck.
tonight.
Peace.
All right. Not bad. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my microphone if it's cutting in and out. I don't know. Uh-huh. Well, I can see me lighting up because I have background noise behind me and they're making my thing light up all the time. But sometimes you break up, sometimes he breaks up. Like he broke up a lot tonight. Last week, yeah, I don't know why. I don't. And it's like in and out. Yeah, I don't know. But today, Matt was breaking up on my end, and then I think it was last week on our Sunday show, you were breaking up a ton, and I was like, I don't yeah, I don't get it. I don't know. So maybe I have to get a little microphone or something like that instead of this. So, but yeah.